So welcome back to DecalsLab GT3 final round season 5 at Nurburgring 24hr track. So let's get back on with the race, and we left it with Nathan the lead, and he still is, with Jake hovering round. Remember, he's on the mediums, and we have Nathan on the super softs. Then we've got mediums with Bobby, then softs with Lewis, and then super softs with Liam, and then there's a big gap back to the championship leader Sean, who's being chased down by Will. And Adam's fighting against both Mercedes. He gets round the outside of, I think that's Matt with his wipers on, and Matt's just behind there. Matt's gone too late on the brakes, maybe misjudged what part of the track it was. He's completely lost the car, hit Adam, both take a little trip into the gravel, but Adam takes the position back, and the real winner out of that is Rob, who's getting held up by them anyway, and he's gone past both of them. Rob looking more increasingly better in this race, and then you can see in the background Ben now. Remember, he's now on softs and starting to come back into the race. But here's Nathan out front doing what he has to do, pull away from Jake as much as he can, so when Jake gets onto his soft tyres he finds it almost impossible to catch him. Well, he's definitely pulling away, but we'll have to see at the end of the race whether that is enough. Meanwhile, Bobby on the mediums is now coming under serious heat from the Alpha twins. Sean has been caught by Will on the second half of the lap now. Ben is caught up to Matt, who's had a further moment after his little scuffle with Adam. See what the Mazda driver can do. Can he get past? It's very, very tricky to get past down here. And Matt's through the fast right-hander, had gone too fast and lost it just on the exit, and that's allowed the Mazda through and up into 10th place for Ben. We'll come back to Jake, and then we've got Bobby still with Lewis right behind him, and Rob now with Sean in 6th ahead of Will. Sean will be just looking to get these out of the way. These tyres are horrible, and now he's got Will behind him, and Will's outbraked himself into the back of Sean. Sean's gone round. This is crucial for the championship. Will waits, but that's all in vain for Sean. The time's ticking, and he is losing any chance he had of this championship. Through goes Rob, and Sean's still struggling to find reverse. Through goes Adam and Ben, and Sean finally gets going and gets hit by Matt, and well, now he's going to struggle to get going again. He's not got going, and in fact he's retired from the race. Sean believes that his chances are gone, and in complete frustration he will not finish this race, and it was returned to the garage. A disaster for Sean. He'll be absolutely upset with that. Nothing he could do. Will just completely misjudged it, pushed him up the back and spun Sean out. Sean's championship's over, and well, currently Mazda's constructors or teams championship's not looking great. Ben needs to get past Adam, and it looks like he's done it as we cut to the replay. But what a turn up for the books. Sean had a 12-point lead coming into this race, and everyone thought he really just had to stand up to win. Ben takes 7th away from Adam. Remember, he's been promoted to 2 more by the Will and Sean incident. And Jay's going along really well now. He's up to 10th. He's ahead of Will as well, and he's past Coleman. There is Coleman. But what a turn up for the books. The championship now is between Nathan, who's leading this race, there he is, and Jake, and they are separated by 2 points in the championship. Nathan ahead of Jake, but with Sean out the equation, it is between these two for the championship now. It's literally a dead head to head, that's what I'm trying to say. A head to head between them for the championship. Bobby's still doing a fantastic job in this race, holding off both Alfa Romeos who are on softer compound tyres. Ben's racing away from Adam now and going after the other Mercedes of Rob. There's Nathan. Where is Jake? And he's continuing to pull away from him. Jake will know what the story is, though. He knows that he's going to have to softer tyres at some point. He knows that Nathan's going to have to put the mediums on for the end of the race. Nathan absolutely blasting through his track, setting fastest sectors. You see it, Jake's about 3 seconds down on this lap. To the mini carousel for Nathan. Good through that, nice and neat and tidy. And he'll know now that Sean is out of the race. Liam catching up with his teammate at the end of the lap. Rob doing a very good job on his debut, but he's being closed down by the Mazda of Ben. And we've got Adam 8th, so Adam needs to get past Ben really and give Porsche a good chance at the team's championship. Now with Sean gone, you can see Nathan's leading. It is quite a big one from Jake. That's at least a tyre stop. And Bobby's got the Alphas after him. And they'll probably work together to get past here, and they are. Liam's taken to the grass. Bobby tried to come across to get the slipstream from Lewis, but Bobby saw him at the last moment. Just about avoided disaster there. Downhill into this tricky section. Liam won't try to pass his teammate. Bobby's gone a bit erratic there. He's gone up on the curb and he's gone round at the fastest part of the track and right round, and that's really going to ruin his race, and into the barrier on the other side as well. So front end damage for him. You can see he just flicks up on the curb and it just unsettles the Aston and puts it into a big spin. To be honest with you, he's quite lucky he hasn't had more damage than that, but it's the time lost that's going to hurt him. And here comes Rob. Rob's too far back to take advantage of it, and Ben's closing all the time. Jay also coming back into this race quite well. Liam's in, Lewis is in, and Nathan in on this lap. Jake carries on, so he'll do one more lap on those mediums and then he'll go on to the softs or the super softs for the end. This is going to be Nathan on to the medium, so he's going to go to the end. Well, he could go to the end on those mediums. The Alpha twins are still joined at the hip, but Liam has a better pit stop and comes out in front of his teammate. Softs on Lewis's car as he tries to ground his outside of his teammate, who's now lost it at turn 1 on super softs. That'll be frustrating for Liam because he was in front. Made the time up in the pit stop. Adam pits for what feels like the 1000th time in this race. He's just trying to use all the compounds to see what suits him the best. And that's Jay in as well, in the Jag, the lone Jag. But Jay representing Track Addicts, and he'll enter 2 cars next season. And the teams for next season have been pretty much announced now. Some interesting teams. A couple new cars, a couple old returning cars. As Matt leaves the pits, is steadily slipping backwards now. So now, well, Jake's job now is to consolidate his lead, and Nathan's job is to close up as much as he can on fresher mediums. So we'll see. So here's Jake then coming through this tight section, kicks the back end out, off he goes, and now here comes Nathan just entering that section. So the gap's pretty much the same as it was before, but the other way around, if you follow me. Bob in the Sega car still in third despite that crash because he didn't pit, but imagine for the time he's lost with that, he could be well up there. Ben needs to get past Rob into this chicane. He's gone for it. He doesn't want to follow that Mercedes through the rest of this Nordschleife bit, so he's worked hard to close that gap, and that's Ben up into 6th place. So well, that might be enough to keep Mazda in this. And Adam's got issues anyway. He's got Will chasing him down. Will on super softs. We know that Will's got much better tyre life than the Porsche that's in front of him. Yeah, Adam's been in the pits more times than I've been to the bar. So yeah, it's really struggling with his tyres, or he just doesn't feel confident on worn tyres. But his strategy's got him in 8th at the moment. Will looking a lot quicker. He'll look for a mistake to get past Adam if he can. But this is the part of the track where things get a bit tight and you can't really make the moves. Hence Ben's desperation to get past Rob before this section, so then he can just do his own little race. Will, obviously, he'll feel bad about that incident with Sean. He'll know it was his fault, and yeah, it'd be just as upset, I would have thought. Sean's championship's over for this season. He's led it pretty much most of the way, and after Red Bull he looked pretty much bang on for the championship. Here's Jay though, and like I said, he's definitely getting to grips with the track and the car now. He's, although I've said that, he's kicking up the dust. He almost went there and he's gone anyway. And yeah, I think you need to change your Instagram to Grass Addict. But definitely improving his pace as the race is going on. and he's fighting away with Matt, and Brian's still struggling with the track and really far back at the moment. Ooh, Jake on the limit and over it, trying to keep the pace up. You can see that Nathan's starting to edge towards him, completely drifting around there. So these mediums are, well, I'd say they're over. I think they need to go in the bin. So this is the race now. So Nathan on his mediums will try and go to the end, I would think. That's why he's put them on now. So he needs to get 3 laps out of those, which is what everyone else has been doing. So it shouldn't be a problem. But Jake, we know, is going to get off those mediums and go onto the soft tyre for the last 2 laps. So what we'll have is a cat and mouse game of, can Jake close down Nathan on the softer tyre with 2 laps to go. That's the way this is headed. Adam all over the track still. Wheels drop back a little bit, to be fair. Through this tight section again, where a mistake could happen. And Lewis all over the back of Bobby again. It's caught back up to him. So that just shows you how much time Bob lost with that spin. So he should be well in front of these guys, considering they've pitted. Shame for Bobby. He was doing a really good job, but I think he's going to be at least 5th in this race. Bear in mind he's going to have to stop. Ooh, and Lewis on the grass there, trying in his desperation to get past Bobby. And they're heading towards the carousel part of the track. And Lewis just about unbraked. He's outbraked himself and put Bobby into the wall. He's off the throttle. He's thinking about waiting, and he's now thinking about it again. But from advice from his teammate, he's decided to carry on. They both decided that if they can't decide whether it was his fault, he should carry on. But the stewards looked at it, and unfortunately for Lewis, he was deemed at fault for that incident. Really nothing Bobby could do. He was just taking his line, and, well, a nudge at the back from Lewis and dire consequences. Didn't give the place back either. So unfortunately it was a warning and a 10-second penalty for Lewis. So we'll see where that puts him at the end of the race. And Rob's still impressing everybody, going along in 7th place. Adam and Will still at war, and here comes Jay, like I say, ever improving in this race. He's got Matt behind him and Coleman. Coleman's woken up a bit in the race. He's starting to get a bit involved with the battles. But here's Jake absolutely wringing the neck of that Porsche, trying to get as much out of his cutting corners, the grass flying up everywhere. He needs every centimetre of this track to try and beat Nathan today, and he knows it. He's in a real race today with that BMW. Nathan's not backing down. I've said it before and I'll say it again, Nathan's one of the fastest sim racing drivers I've ever raced, and I've been racing him 5-6 years. And the fact that Jake can lay a glove on him says wonders. They're both doing the same thing. They're both using all the track and more, and this is going to be a thrilling 2 laps towards the end. The Alphas are still in this as well. They're doing their own race now that Lewis has disposed of Bobby in his own way. Ben up to 6th. Would be fairly pleased with that, being 11th most of the start of the race. Again, Rob, like I say, impressive in 7th. Will in 8th. Now has passed Adam, so how did he do it? And here it is. So did he get down the inside note? Or it looks like Adam's run wide. He has into the barrier, strikes sparks from the barrier, but keeps going. Does he spin? No. Well, at least he didn't spin. Lost a little bit of time, not massive amounts, and didn't get any damage either. So he'll live to fight another day. Probably pit again, to be fair. Oh, Jake over the limit again, kicking up the mud. He's desperate to win this race and the championship. Absolutely laying everything on the line. Completely broadside out of that corner, and you can see that Nathan is closing him down on this lap. Jake's going to need fuel and tyres, so he will slip behind Nathan, we think, and it'll probably be about the same gap as you see, but the other way around again. And see where the Alphas are. They're definitely in this. You can see them in the background. They've been catching Nathan this lap. And there's Bobby as well, but we know Bobby's got a pit, so he's not really in this fight. You can even see Ben right at the top of the hill. But again, I think he's going to have to pit this lap as well. We know Nathan's going to the end. Well, that's at least his plan. He may change it. Right, so that's Jake in then. He's going to need a fair bit of fuel, so he's going to be here a little while. and he'll put the softs on, or the super softs, it just depends. He's normally partial to the soft tyre. And Lewis and Liam are coming in again as well, so they're going to go for new tyres for the last couple laps as well. So we're going to have Jake charging after Nathan, we're going to have Liam and Lewis charging after Nathan as well. Bobby's in, and he's in a battle now with Ben for that 5th place, which will be, well, it could even be more than that. It depends how far Lewis gets ahead of them. Lewis is out on super softs, and so is Liam, so those two are definitely pushing, charging, trying to win this race. So this is going to be fascinating now, these last 2 laps. The race is built up to this. Bobby in 5th, Ben comes out in 6th, Rob's in as well for 7th, and there he is. And then in comes Will, and Rob leaves the pits. Jay all over the back of Matt by the looks of it, coming down the straight. And that's well, that's Rob on mediums now to the end. And Adam's pitted again. Coleman pitted for the last time as well, so now everyone basically finishing all their pit stops. There's 2 laps to go, and that is the gap. It's about 8 seconds, I'd say, roughly. I've just roughly timed it, it's about 10 seconds actually, so not a bad lead for Nathan for 2 laps. But again, Jake on the softer tyre will be a lot quicker, bearing in mind this lap is 8 minutes. There's Rob, like I say, he's on mediums. Super softs for his teammate, then mediums again for Jay. Should be able to get to the end on them. And he's really starting to turn up the pace. He's caught these guys. Remember, he's way back after a few spins. He's hunted down the Mercedes of Matt. He's got Will behind him and Adam. Adam's gone through more tyres than you've seen a 24-hour race so far. Jay a little bit wide there on the way in, but he's gone wide on the exit. Does he keep the car? Yes, but he's got dirty tyres, so he'll run wide here. Does well to keep it on the track, but that's allowed Adam through. But don't worry, Adam will pit at the end of this lap. Will in 11th, Coleman 12th, Andrew 13th in pits, and Brian's halfway round lap 5. Goes off there as well. But here's the battle. This is the one we want to see on the penultimate lap. Nathan's flying, but he is on the mediums, and Jake will be quicker. And I think Jake's taken about 2 seconds out of him already. Absolutely storming along in the Porsche. So Nathan just needs to keep it clean, but keep it fast. He's got a good lead, but is it enough? As we see Nathan come through that twisty section. Here comes Jake. And Lewis not that far back, remember he's on super softs as well. There's his teammate, also on super softs. So Nathan does fall off the cliff on pace. Those guys have still got a chance in this race. Here comes Bobby, but he's too far back. That spin really did cost him any chance that he'd had in this race, and I believe he had a good chance of being up there. He's got Ben behind him, Ben closing in. And a big gap back to the rest. And Jay has got that past the Mercedes, but he's got it all over the back of him still. And not anymore, he hasn't. And spears into the wall goes Matt. Matt has lost the car into the barrier, but he gets back going again ahead of Will, and Will won't be able to pass him down here because we know that Mercedes is quick. BMW's pretty quick, but it's not got a chance against that Mercedes. Through this fast sweeping corner, touches the grass, but he should better keep the car on the track. Does. And then it gets a bit more narrow down this sweep a bit that Jay and Adam are at. I don't know if that wiper's going as an aerodynamic advantage for Matt, but I'm sure he'll explain later. again down for this twisty section where really again you can't really pass the track. It's just not wide enough, which is one negative comment you can make about the track. Will still all over the back of Matt, trying to figure out a way to move. That looked like Matt was quite sideways there, and he is, and that's Will through, and Will will be very relieved of that. He can get on with it and chase down Adam and the rest in front of him. Will's got some great pace, but it's just been ruined by that incident. And Brian's still learning the track by the looks of it. But here is the wrap battle, and you can see that Jake is visibly closer. He's not that far back already, so this is definitely going down to the last lap. Nathan's driving really well. He is literally on the limit, but Jake is driving faster with those softer tyres, and anything that Nathan does, there's nothing he can do to substitute better grip. And that Porsche's being exploited by it right now with Jake. He's absolutely storming it. Lewis is really not that far back either. He's having a great lap, but he has not quite got the pace of his teammate. But he'll be happy with 4th after the season he's had. Bobby 5th, Ben 6th, and then it's Rob 7th, Adam 8th, Jay 9th, Will 10th, ahead of Matt, as we know. Coleman in 12th. Disappointing season from Coleman again. I mean, we know how fast he is, but again, he's not quite got it together. He's been a bit quicker in the Corvette as opposed to Nissan. Nissan would have been good round here, I would have thought, but and Brian just I don't think he's learnt the track. That's why he's so far back. And Andrew's got the beating of him today. Here's the lead battle though. We're still concentrating on this. Lewis is definitely in this. He's really flying along this lap. Ben definitely edging towards Bobby. That could be a battle on the last lap. Rob's got some clear air though. He can take it easy to the end of the race. He's got the tyres, he's got the mediums, so they'll definitely last. You can see that Lewis is really not that far behind Jake, and if Jake's clutching Nathan, then Lewis definitely is as well. We're about to head onto the straights and see the gap a bit better. There's Nathan just ahead of Jake. Jake's absolutely destroying the gap between them. Nathan's driving a brilliant race, but there's Jake, there's the gap, and these three on the last lap are it's gonna be a titanic duel. So Nathan leads. Gap was about 10 seconds. It's now about 5 or 6. So, and then about the same back to Lewis, and then about the same back to Liam. Liam doesn't seem to quite have the pace of his teammate. Nathan, is that a big enough gap though going into this last lap? I'm really not sure. Has Jake had the best out of those soft tyres on that opening lap? He's pretty renowned for wrecking the tyres. See that his tyre wear's pretty bad considering Nathan's been on his tyres a lap more. We enter the last lap then, and this is the gap, and it's about 5 seconds. Remember, the gap was 10 seconds a lap ago-ish. So on the current form, you'd say that Jake's going to catch him. Lewis has got an outside chance, but maybe he's too far back. Looks like Jake's about 5 to 6 seconds a lap quick on those tyres. Bobby looks like nailed on for 5th. You can see Ben in the background, but he's really not close enough to do anything about it, I don't think. He's got a nice gap back to Rob, who's got a nice gap to Adam, who probably pit anyway. And then we've got Will in 9th, who's pulled well away from, well, he's got past Jay that we didn't see. And let me guess. And Adam's gone back to his natural habitat of the pit lane, and he's joined by Jay. So Jay decides that he doesn't want to use these mediums for the last lap. He wants to go on to the softs, or super softs. And he comes. Surprised Adam needs fuel the amount of times he's pitted. Out he goes. Well, his team will be the fastest team in the pit stops next season, having practiced about 50 of them today. Jay comes out in 10th, and he'll be ahead of Coleman. Matt comes out. Does he come out ahead of Coleman? No. Coleman flashes past, takes 11th place. Coleman will hope to hold on to that on the last lap. He's on super soft Coleman. He's not on a bad tyre and they're not that worn. Anyway, back to the fight for the lead. Here's Nathan. Where's Jake? You can see Jake, he's really closing in now. Well, we thought he might catch, and I've got to be honest with you, it looks like he's going to, because we're going through the twistier part of the track now, and his tyres with the softer compound would surely bring him up close to Nathan. And the championship is coming down to the last lap of the last race. What's happening behind really now is becoming irrelevant, because this is what we want to see, the lead battle. Although Coleman's under threat from Matt, but this is all that matters right now. Here is Nathan. Where is Jake? There he is. You can see the yellow Porsche closing down as he pulls a wheelie, and he'll be all over the track trying to catch Nathan. These two proper racers, and with Sean out the picture, this is your championship battle. Jake's closing with every straight and every corner. He is edging closer towards that BMW. Nathan will know that. Now down through this corner, third gear on the exit. Up the curb goes Jake. It's risky, that can spin you around. Lewis just starting to fall off. His tyres are pretty bad and he's starting to fall off the pace. In fact, Liam's closing in. So Liam played the waiting game on the first lap, looking to attack his teammate on the second lap. Bobby still got a good gap back to Ben, although he's still slightly closing on him. And here's mistake by Nathan up the curb and over the grass. He's starting to feel the pressure. Nathan, who's lost a lot of championships recently in the last round, he's got the reputation of a bottler, which I think is a little bit unfair, but he's lost a few championships, let's put it that way. And again, a mistake, he's gone wide and up the curb, and that'll mess up his exit on the second part. So he's feeling the pressure. Jake's closing in all the time. He needs to settle down, just keep it clean. Remember, he's got a slight power advantage with that BMW, but Jake doesn't care. He's absolutely thrashing it. Between those two, Lewis is dropping back a little bit now. I think he went too hard on his tyres in that first lap, and it's costing him a bit of time. And Brian's hitting the wall again, but he's going to pick up some points for 14th at least, and he'll look forward to the Lexus next season. I'll try and go through the teams, but with the way this race is going, I'm going to have no time. And we're on board now with Jake, and let's see how quickly he closes in on that BMW. And there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to catch him. We're not even halfway through this lap, or maybe we're just reaching that now, about 4 minutes in. Yeah, we're about halfway through the lap, and you can see he's half the gap again. And if we can get a whiff of slipstream through here, and it looks like Nathan's a bit wide again through that corner. So these two, they've battled it out for the British Touring Car Championship a couple of days ago, and now they're battling out again for the GT3 Championship. Nathan looking for revenge, and he wants to win this championship. He wants to win a race, because he hasn't won a race this season, and that in itself is a bit strange for Nathan, who dominated the GT3s last season, knocking Kevin off his off the top of his something. I don't know, off the top of the championship. Yeah, there you go. But Jake, look at that, he's all over the grass. He's taking risks in every single corner to catch Nathan, which tells you everything you need to know about how Nathan's driving. Nathan absolutely on the limit, Jake completely over it to catch him. Nathan wide again there, and he's really feeling the pressure, and the mediums are giving up. He's sideways there. The medium's such a tricky tyre as they go into the carousel, and Jake is on him. It's about 3 minutes left in this lap, and I just can't see whether Jake can pass through this section though. Nathan will know that. Look at Nathan's fuel as well, that could be critical. Is he having to save fuel in this last lap? The fuel light's flashing. You can see like Lewis has got plenty of fuel. Oh no, sorry, that was Liam. Now this is Lewis, and Lewis has spun at the carousel, so that means if Liam's in front of him, he's had another moment. And here is the replay, and it's tricky right-hander, and if you get it a bit wide and go over the curb, and that is what happens. Auto spins, and that is a bit of a shame for Lewis, who's having a good race other than the Bobby moment, and that's allowed his teammate through and up into third. As we flash back to Ben, and he's done pretty much the same thing by the looks of it. Yep, into the wall. And you can see Bobby in the foreground, so that's going to cost him the time that he gained on Bobby already, and that's probably Bobby safe now in 5th place. But this is the battle for the lead now, just a quarter of a lap to go. Jake still closing it down. Nathan just trying to be neat, trying to be accurate, trying to just keep the car on the line. Also probably trying to save fuel because he's on the smell of an oily rag right now. He's got no fuel left, but he's going to have to try and save some. This is probably the section to do it because there's absolutely no way Jake can get through there. And, well, to be honest, Jake's not really close enough at the moment. As we look back from the BMW, there it is, the yellow Pero that's closing in, corner after corner, straight after straight. We really are into the last part of this lap now. Bit of air there from the BMW driver. Jake's just playing a patient waiting game, which is a surprise, and they're both all over the track. Absolutely stunning race by both of them. It's a pity it can't be a dead heat, but you get a feeling it's not going to be. Jake closing in now though as we get towards the end of the lap. He's timing it right, he's trying to get close before the straight. And now up through this last few corners here, now up over the curb, through the mini carousel, and then we go out the carousel, go right through the kink and sideways from Jake. He almost lost the car, but he just gathered it back up. And is that going to be crucial? I'd say probably not. He's still close enough through the kink, and now down. It's a matter of the back straight, and whoever comes out of there in front should win this race. Oh, Nathan's wide again, almost loses the back of the car, and here comes the Porsche down the back straight. Has he got enough power and slipstream to pull out and pass the BMW? Yes, he has. Nathan's actually lifted off the throttle. He wants to get behind Jake, and Jake takes the lead and possibly the championship on the last lap on the straight. Nathan trying to power back at him. Can he do it? They head towards the kink, and if it gets into the kink first, Jake probably will have it. He's done it, but Nathan's coming back at him. I really think that Nathan's just not got enough fuel to fight back through the last couple corners. Jake incredibly going to win this championship. He's going to steal a championship off Nathan again. Now sideways from Jake, he almost lost it. Nathan sideways on the exit as they head towards the line. Who's it going to be? Jake Hill's going to win the race and the championship. Nathan second place. Incredible race between those two. Liam will be well impressed with third. He's not had a great season, but that makes up for it. Third place here at the Nurburgring Grand Prix, as I'm losing my voice. Lewis is coming across fourth, but remember he's got that 10-second penalty. So we'll see where's Bobby in relation to him. Bobby's there in the background, so well, Bobby's beating him for sure. Bobby finishes fifth, but will be fourth. Ben finishes sixth, but is promoted to fifth by 1/10 of a second. So Lewis finishes sixth. Rob, brilliant debut for him, seventh by the looks of it. Another man that's very short on fuel. Great drive from Rob. Ooh, he almost does the same as Nathan. But whoa, just get my breath back after that. That was insane. Rob seventh. Will come across eighth, and probably want to forget about this race. He'll be avoiding Sean after the race, that's for sure. Nothing worse than an angry Scotsman. And Jay, well, started off a bit dodgy, but he's grown into the race, and he'll be pretty pleased with a 9th place finish. He'll come back strong with a 2-car effort next season, as we mentioned, and more to mention of his passion track addicts. Will bring them up shortly. 10th for Matt, the wipers helped. 11th for Adam, pit stops obviously didn't, and Coleman will be 12th. 13th for Andrew, who's quite far back unfortunately, still halfway around the track, and Brian's in the first sector in 14th place. Oh, he's celebrating 14th there with an off-track excursion. Nice slide, Brian, well held. But Andrew comes out on top in that personal duel today. So Jake Hill wins the race and wins the championship. Nathan second, Liam third, Lewis was 6th, Bobby 4th, Ben 5th, Lewis 6th, 7th Rob, 8th for Will, 9th for Jay, 10th for Matt, 11th was Adam, 12th for Coleman, 13th for Andrew, 14th was Brian, and Sean did not finish the race, which means in the championship it all turns on its head, and again Jake's the one to turn it round and wins the championship by 4 points over Nathan. Ben shoots up from 5th place to 3rd. Then it's Bobby, then Lewis, because Bobby won a race, so Lewis finishes 5th. Sean 6th, Liam 7th, Will 8th, 9th for Adam, disappointing season for him. Matt 10th, Coleman, Chris, who did a one race, Brian, and then Andrew. So GoPro Mazda just about clinched the Teams Championship. Remember, they had a 40-point lead. It was reduced to 13 by Porsche, then BMW, Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin, Mercedes, and the Falcon Tyre Corvette team. As I start to lose my voice after that. Just to mention, we have a new sponsor, a second sponsor of Track Addict, and we saw Jay going around, but great to have them on board. If you follow them on Instagram, basically covering track days, showing all the cars, showing all the spec that these guys have on these awesome looking motors. And we want to thank DecalsLab for being with us the whole season. Again, a really great company that all your decal needs. But these were the guys of the race. Jake winning the championship in the race with that move there on the back straight, and what a race, the like of which we haven't seen all season. Thanks for joining us this season, though. Season 6 starts in a week's time, believe it or not, and some interesting teams and cars. We'll see you then.